Welcome to My Forever Home, the podcast. I'm Frances Cosway and I've helped hundreds of people create forever homes. I can't wait to share the journey with you. So let's start. Hello and welcome to the next episode of Your Forever Home, the podcast, the Kitchen Design Essentials season. We are now in episode 6 overall in the Kitchen Design Essentials season of the podcast. And I'm really excited today to be bringing you this episode all about splashbacks. Now, I am particularly excited about splashbacks because I feel that it's a fantastic opportunity to inject your own personality into your kitchen and to inject just a little bit of colour or texture or something a little bit different. Even if you've got a completely white kitchen, I feel that a splashback can really differentiate your kitchen from anyone else's and just make it uniquely yours. So this is a particular favourite of mine when I've ever done a kitchen for myself, but it's a big favourite of mine as well when we're specifying for clients. I just wanted to note that I'm recording this on the 4th of August. This will actually go and be released as a podcast tomorrow. But I suppose today is the day after the Victorian Premier has announced that we're going into stage 4 lockdown, which has a big impact on businesses. So it's sort of a funny day today, waking up and knowing that the world as we know it is going to be quite different for the next 6 weeks in Victoria. And personally, White Pebble Interiors has been in a position to serve clients remotely for some years now, simply because we have clients both regionally and interstate, so all over Australia. So we've got the systems and processes in place to be able to serve clients. And because we do such a wide variety of work in terms of joinery drawings and elevations, as well as doing specifications, much of that work can be done without needing to go into a studio. And so there will be so many things that we can continue to do. The team has been working remotely now for many months because of the outbreak of COVID-19. But I suppose I just wanted to address it because yes, we're based in Melbourne. Many of our listeners are, but many of our listeners are also based outside of Victoria. But I just felt that, I don't know, there's just a funny, sort of a strange feeling today as we wake up in what will be a very new world for us over the next 6 weeks. So you'll hear this tomorrow and it'll be 2 days in. And it's a strange time. So anyway, let me get back and put my kitchen hat on and let's talk about splashbacks. So I'm going to go through many different types of splashback options. In fact, I'm going to go through 7 to be precise, and just go through what you need to consider, and then how I suppose you need to choose, and some other things that you need to think about. In my view, the splashback can be and often is the design lead in your kitchen. So what I mean by that is you may have your heart set on a particular colour, style, shape of splashback before you even start thinking about what your benchtop may be. Now, I call that the design lead, and that's what the rest of the materials are determined by the fact that your design lead may be your splashback. To give you an example, when I was designing my kitchen, my Forever Home kitchen, where the materials were very much a reflection of what I love, what I'd been waiting years and years to be able to do, so that it was completely my fixation on what I loved. And so there was a particular tile by Patricia Urquhart, a very famous and very versatile, incredible designer, and she has amazing tiles that she designs for Mutina. And these tiles have been around for over 10 years, and I'd always loved them. I'd always dreamed about having them in my home. And so I knew for the Forever Home that they would be the splashback. And they were in tones of grey, which is not what I normally gravitate to. And I didn't want the multicoloured ones. I wanted it to be monochromatic. So the entire kitchen was designed around, from a material perspective, around these tiles, knowing that they were going to be the splashback. We have many clients who really love a particular tile that they want for their splashback. And again, the kitchen is designed. The other materials the bench top and the cabinetry, all those colours are all designed around the splashback. Now, it may be the other way around for you, that there's a particular natural stone that you're in love with, and then that is the design lead, and that then becomes what all the other materials are determined by, is around the particular benchtop stone that you've chosen. So often it is the splashback, and I think it's awesome because the splashback is an opportunity to inject colour, it's an opportunity to inject texture. Even if you are having a splashback colour that is very similar and quite monochromatic to your cabinetry and your benchtops, you can still create a little point of difference by perhaps having a tonal change, or you've got shape, or you've got texture. That there's something that you can have in that splashback that makes it a little bit more special, even if you do want it to be all very, very similar in colour and tone. So that's one thing to think about your splashback. And the other one is, how do you choose? And that comes down to maybe the colours, the style of kitchen you're going to have, whether it's an easy to clean splashback, whether you want it to be a feature or not, whether you want to have shape or whether you want to have texture. And this can sometimes become a little bit daunting for people. It's, I'm not sure how that's all going to work with, yes, I have a splashback in mind, but how does that work with everything else that we're going to be doing? And that may be where you get someone to be a sounding board for you or help you select. So, what are the different types of splashback? The first one that I'm going to talk about is stone. Now, this can be, I'll firstly talk about reconstituted stone. So if we're thinking about things like Caesar stone, Siles stone, Esser stone, Smart stone, whatever brand it is, a reconstituted stone has got a lot of, it's basically bound by resin. So it's not something that can be used as a splashback for a naked flame. And I've seen a lot of people get picked up on this, that they've really had their heart set on having that seamless look where the bench top basically then wraps up to the wall, the rear wall, and become a splashback. This is possible with natural stone because it is a stone and there aren't any polymers or resin binding that product together. So that can be used as a natural, as close to a naked flame. There won't be any problems there. But reconstituted stone cannot be placed behind a gas cooktop because there is a naked flame. So it doesn't meet regulations. But having a stone, whether it's a reconstituted stone or a natural stone, move back, as you've got your bench top and then it becomes seamless up as a splashback, is a look that some people really like. It's unified, it's seamless, and it basically just is less materials, and sometimes less is more, so it's very sophisticated. But just bear in mind around the reconstituted stone. Easy to clean, and it's a great option. The other one is porcelain. A porcelain product, and I don't mean a tile where you've got a porcelain bench top, and again you can create a similar effect by wrapping that up and creating that seamless look by having it as the splashback. You can do the same with Decton, so I'm going to talk about them in a very similar way. They can also be used in the same way as stone, same aesthetic as a stone, seamless finish, but the advantage with having porcelain or Decton is it is fire resistant, so you can actually have that as next to a naked flame, and i.e. it's not going to be impacted by a gas cooktop. So that is definitely an option, and if that is your bench top of choice, you are definitely going to be able to wrap that up and use it as a bench top. The other option, which is still coming up as a query from clients, is glass. Now, glass was really big in the 90s as this be all and end all. You've got this one material, there's no seams, generally speaking. And, it was really big in that time. Personally, I'm not a big fan. I find it quite bland. I feel that there's no personality in using glass. You need to be mindful of the fact that, like any glass, it needs to be cleaned regularly. Depending on how you're cleaning and when the light hits it, it can look really streaked. It can be quite expensive. You need to know exactly where your GPOs and any other cutouts are going to be before it comes on site. It can be quite tricky to get on site, and it's really not the most cost-effective option around. But the other thing that people are not necessarily aware of is the fact that because glass has that the green tinge to it, whatever's behind the glass will actually change colour. And I've seen many homeowners have the glass splashback put in, and then of course they've got the same colour as the walls, and they're like, oh, it's a different colour, and that's because the glass has got a tint in it. Even if it's transparent glass, just like with a shower screen, it's got that green tint in it, which means that whatever's behind it will actually have a different colour behind the glass. So I'm not a big fan, and unless someone is really passionate about glass, and they may have their reasons for that, I sort of try and offer other alternatives other than using glass. I think there's so many more products available that are just so much more interesting than glass. Then there's also mirror. And mirror is quite sophisticated and is also fantastic for when you're trying to reflect space, create an illusion of space. So they're great for in smaller kitchens where you really want to be able to enhance the appearance of its size. And I suppose the other thing with mirror is, just like glass, it needs pretty much daily cleaning. It can also streak. And so it is going to come into the same sort of category as glass, I suppose. It's also quite expensive, but when it's bronzed, you can get tinted mirror. It looks super, super sophisticated, and I think if you're quite happy cleaning it, I think it's a fabulous option, but just be aware that, you know, it will need a little bit of maintenance and regular cleaning. The other really popular one at the moment is a window splashback. And if you've got some greenery or some sort of landscaping outside with that view, then I think it's a fabulous option. If you're just going to be looking at a paling fence, maybe not such a great idea. If you're just going to be looking straight into your neighbours, also maybe not a great idea. But if there is definitely the intention to have some sort of greenery on the other side of that window, then I think it's a fabulous outlook. You're bringing the outdoors in, sense of calm, really, really beautiful. What you do need to be mindful, though, about window, and this has come up quite a bit with clients of ours, is it will need cleaning every time you are, cooking. So if it is behind the stove, just like glass, it will need daily cleaning. You'll have, spatter of fats and so forth. Yes, we need to talk about the realities of life. So it's not always for everyone, just like glass may not be. We've got a client that had window the entire length of her kitchen, and she said, I don't want to be cleaning this every day. It's going to drive me absolutely crazy. So we put in a splashback for her, tiled splashback. Still got a lot of window in that kitchen, but at least now we know it's going to serve her and it's going to be functional. So yes, you need to weigh up the looks, the aesthetic, versus the functionality and the cleaning requirements to work out which splashback's going to be best for you. Tiles. Now, these would have to be my absolute favourite because I think tiles can just do and be so many different things. I think they add so much personality. There's colour, there's shape, there's texture. There's so much variety out there. And because you generally only need a small amount of tiles, it is generally a lot more cost effective. So even if a tile is, a particular amount a square metre, it may seem gaspingly expensive. But because you only need a small amount, you may only need a couple of square metres, it actually becomes quite more palatable once you look at just really how many square metres you really need to do that splashback. So make sure you're considering that and not just looking at the square meterage rate. Work out exactly how much you need and really how much that complete splashback is going to cost you. So you can generally up the budget on your tiling per square metre for a splashback for that very reason. So I just think with the amount of tiles available at the moment, there is just so much to choose from. And it's a really fantastic opportunity to inject some colour, to inject a different shape. You may have a completely the same colour as your cabinetry, but you're going to have shape. Or you may have the same colour as your cabinetry and you're going to have texture. Or you may use it as an opportunity to have colour. But I think it's such a fantastic way, even if your entire kitchen is white, that you have this splashback that then injects something completely different. I've got clients that are going, he's a photographer and he's doing an amazing, this is sort of moving away from tile, but I just thought of it then. And he's creating one of his own photos to be his splashback. So that's so personal. There's so much work that's gone into that, and that means so much. And that's not necessarily tiles, but I suppose my point here is, use it to reflect you. And also, everyone talks about, oh, I don't want a plain, sorry, not everyone, but a lot of I don't want a plain white kitchen. I want something a bit more. Well, you could have plain white or an off-white or whatever it is, a plain colour, but still inject something with your splashback. So think about your favourite colour, think about your favourite shape, think about a texture that you like, and use that as part of your splashback. I think it's just, it is really one of my favourites. It gets me really excited. One of the biggest pushbacks we get with regards to tiles is this illusion that grout is an issue. Now, there's a couple of things I've got to say about grout as a splashback, and this is, I suppose, more prominent in kitchens than it is in bathrooms. People worry that if they've got grout, and especially if it's a white grout behind your stove, that you're going to have your spaghetti sauce and all your other types of cooking splattered all over that grout, and it's never going to be clean. Well, firstly, you can spray seal the grout, and it basically means that you just wipe it off the grout just like you would a tiled surface. It's very easy to clean. And I know this not just because, I hear people talk about it. I've lived in this scenario. I've had, in my previous homes, I've had white grout, lots and lots of white grout because I've used very small tiles, and it's been spray sealed and it is just wiped clean. So I've lived with this. I've experienced it. It is not an issue. The spray seal is really easy to apply. The other thing that is now available is epoxy grout, and this is a non-porous grout, which means it won't expand and contract and it won't discolour. So you could always use epoxy grout if you're really worried about the grout scenario. So tiles, definitely a big tick, big favourite of mine. The last one I wanted to talk about was a product called Metaline. And this is fantastic for people that are doing a makeover and they don't want to rip out the splashback. They really dislike their splashback. It's really dating the kitchen, or it's a bugbear of theirs. So Metaline is a product that perhaps looks a little bit similar to a glass or one sheet of something. It's a slightly reflective metallic finish. The beauty of it is it's only 3 mil thick. So what that means is it could just about in most scenarios be able to be overlaid on top of your current splashback, be that glass, be that tiles, whatever it may be, as long as your range hood is far enough forward that you can have a 3 mil attached to the splashback, the current splashback. It can be applied directly, and the other beauty of it is it's in big sheets and it can be cut and easily installed by a cabinet maker, which is not possible with glass or mirror. That needs to be done off-site. So it is really easy to install. It's great for makeovers because it's really cost-effective, and look, it's not going to give you masses of personality, but it is definitely something that we've used a lot because it's very easy to install. And if you are doing a makeover and you just want to go over the top of what's already there, it's fantastic. I probably wouldn't specify it for a renovation or a brand new kitchen in a new home because I think there's so many other options available. But for a makeover and something that you just want to cosmetically overhaul without ripping out a whole kitchen, it really is a go-to product for me. There are limited colours. There's probably about 9 different colours. Has a similar effect to glass, but look, it's really cost effective, and I've used it lots and lots, and it's just been fabulous. It's not that well known, so give it, have a Google. It's a Laminex product. It's by Laminex. The other thing that you need to think about, finally, for your splashback, is the GPOs. And you go to all this effort of having this magnificent looking splashback. You've got a really magnificent tile, and so you need to think about the locations of the GPOs for your splashback. So do you have them at the side so that it doesn't affect the aesthetic of this beautiful tile or whatever it is that you've got? Do you then use pop-up GPOs? There are other options available. Do you need to make sure that the GPO is the same colour as the splashback because you really want the GPO in that particular location? But just think about that, because sometimes you have this magnificent splashback and then, wow, bang, right in the middle of it is this GPO that we don't really need to highlight because we really want to make the splashback the feature piece and the standout piece, not the GPOs. So that is lots and lots of information for you to take in on Splashback, and I hope that, and I trust that that has given you lots of things to think about. And, you know, if I'm ever going to suggest something, it's definitely going to lead you down the tile route. But don't be swayed by me. You need to go, as I always say, with something that you love. Now, for those of you on the webinar last week, the Forever Home Kitchen Masterclass, did we have a fantastic turnout. It was just wonderful. It was just so lovely to have so many people on the webinar, and you know, the kitchen consultation that I offered absolutely just was not sold out, but it was a free consultation that I offered that just went within minutes. So it was just fabulous to have so much engagement. We'll definitely be doing another one soon, and there'll also be some more resources available for kitchens. It seems to be just an area that people need more and more help with. Make sure that you check out the website. We offer so many different types of kitchen packages. So for makeovers, for renovations, or kitchens for brand new homes, it could just be the materials that you need help with. You need a sounding board, or you need us to choose the materials for you, create a shortlist for you. It could be that you need kitchen design as well as joinery design, or you need both. There's so much flexibility with what we provide in our fixed price packages. So check out the website. We are actually going to be uploading more and more information on the kitchen area because there's only one package that's featured. But reach out. By all means, book a chat. It's also available on the website. You get access to my diary. Book a chat with me and we can certainly go through how you may need support. And through this time of COVID, we can do all of these things for you, even though businesses are in lockdown for the next 6 weeks. We're still open. We still are catering. We always have had systems and processes in place for regional and national clients. So we are still available to be able to do all the joinery design or whatever you need to be done for your kitchen. Open for business as usual for us. So next week, we'll be coming up to episode 7 of the Kitchen Design Essentials podcast season. I look forward to having you on the show next week, for joining us on the show next week. And I certainly hope that you've got lots of information about Splashbacks today. Reach out if you've got any questions. And until next week, bye for now. Thank you so much for listening to this episode of My Forever Home. If you're ready to renovate or build a new home and you need help to create a beautiful and functional forever home, you can book a chat with me directly at whitepebbleinteriors.com.au/chat. Have a great day.